Hello and welcome to this simple demonstration of how to perform looping with LeapTest and Selenium. What we'll do is we will open a browser using the Start Web Browser building block, and then we'll go to the social network site reddit.com, which contains a lot of articles that people vote on and give so-called karma points. And we'll try to find any article that has more than 40,000 points, and then we'll just try to read the title of each one of these articles on the screen. So this is our starting point, and what I'll do is I'll just add a find web element building block and capture what we're looking for directly inside a browser. So when I click this, it's going to open a browser and go to reddit.com, and this little capture button or panel appears, and we can start capturing stuff directly from the screen. And I'm just going to capture each one of these, just one of these articles. Here we go. And here we can see we just found an article, and here's a list of strategies for finding uniqueness about each one of these articles. And the strategy that was automatically generated by LeapTest is that an article is a div, and it has a class that equals something here, and this text, that starts with something. And so if I want to get all of the articles, not just this one, what I can do is I can edit this a little bit and say, well, I only look for class contains something. This looks to be a unique identifier for that particular article. So if I just do this and then click validate, we can see that we found a hit here in the DOM, and I can then go forward and see that I hit each one of these articles inside the browser. So this is a good strategy for finding each one of these articles. The next thing I want to do is I want to capture each one of these vote counts here. So what I'll do is I'll just add one more of these find web elements and capture just any one of these vote counts. Here we go. And this one is even easier to understand. It's basically just a strategy that says, well, it's a div. It has this unique text. We'll just remove that. And then in order to find a score, unvoted, whatever, probably score is enough. But we'll just leave this and click validate. We can see that we find each one of these scores, just like before. So this is fine. And now all we need to do is hook up the found element of the first block as the source element of the second block. So what that means is that we're only looking for scores inside, one of these articles that we found. And then what we can do is we can say use all occurrences, which means find all of these ones and then loop through them one at a time, and then execute this building block looking for the vote count inside each one. And this just finds the web element. What I'll do now is I'll just get a web number. And again, the number we want to find inside the vote count thing, that div we found before. So basically, if we run this case now, we're going to see Chrome being opened, and we will loop through each one of these articles inside the browser. And if we just follow along in LeapTest, we can see what's going on. And there's just something a little wrong here. You see, if we just go to the top of the log, we can see it says found number. Sorry, it kept going. Let me just stop it. Yeah. So found 179, but really it said 17.9, 17.9, 21.1. And so there's something with the decimal separator that's wrong. And that's because on my machine, the decimal separator is set to a comma. We'll just set that to a period and, well, basically just switch these two around. So now we have a way of finding the vote count for each one of the articles on the page. And then the next thing is we want to look for only the ones that have more than 40,000 points, and then read the article title. So the first thing we'll do is we can use the find format and say we're only looking for ones that have a K after the number. So that's an easy way to find the ones that are above 10,000. And then the next thing is we want to have a filter for a value that's greater than 40. So that means on this page we would find this one and that one and that one and so on, only the ones above 40,000 votes. And the final thing in this case would be to find the title. So we'll do that by clicking find web element and capture. We'll just capture any one of these titles and then look at the strategy that gets created. Well, just having an aref is not quite enough. So we'll look at one of the other strategies here. And here's one that's using a class. It says it has to be inside one of these article divs. and then it's a link with a class of title may blank outbound. So basically we can just delete this hierarchical part of the strategy, and we can tweak the class thing a little bit, because we're pretty sure that just having a title is probably enough here. And indeed, if we click validate, we can see that we get each one of these titles. So just like before, we'll just make sure that we hook this up to the same source element to the article. We can either drag a wire from here, or we can just take the output wire from there and put in as our source element. So like this, and then I'll just add one final block. Oops, like so. We will just get web text using as our source element for this the found element, the title. So let's run this case now, and then if I click on Leap Test, we can just follow along as it goes. So we're opening the browser and we're starting to look our way through the page, but there's a delay here. Something is stalling us. It seems like it took 10 seconds. So what we'll do is we'll just go back and investigate what could be wrong here. And well, the thing is, we are looking for sorry, not that one probably. We're looking for something where we don't need to spend 10 seconds waiting for it to appear. So we'll just set the timer out to 0.1 seconds, and the same over here with the text. We'll just set that to 0.1 seconds. So we won't just sit there for something to change the DOM of the page and then suddenly make some valid text appear. So let's just follow along with Leap Test and the browser next to each other. And here we are. We can see the loop going, and we can see that every time we find something above 40K, we read the title, and that's it. And I guess we can stop the case here and then just zoom in a little bit, so maybe we can see the last one that was found was 46.4, and we found the text even if I agree with your bumper sticker, and I just go to the page and find 46.4 even if I agree with your bumper sticker. So this was just a really small demonstration of how to do looping with Leap Test and Selenium, and how to use the found elements as source elements for other blocks, thereby chaining together things that happen in nested structures.